When I found Owen at the bar, he was completely drunk, yet he clung to my arm and refused to let go. My best friend looked at me with a mischievous smile and said, "Oh, it seems someone's having a blossoming romance." I shook my head helplessly, dragged Owen outside, and booked a room for him at a nearby budget hotel before leaving. I thought it was just a short episode in my long life, and I soon forgot about it. Little did I know that a strange fate was waiting for me. Once again, it was 6 months later when I encountered Owen. At that time, my company was on track, experiencing rapid growth, and I had to interview many people every day. I remembered Owen's name because he had the highest education among a stack of resumes. However, despite his impressive academic background, he lacked work experience. In a startup like ours, we preferred someone who could hit the ground running. Moreover, the time and energy cost of nurturing talent was too high. Young people nowadays tend to aim high, and I was afraid that after investing so much in training, Owen might find our company too small for his ambitions. Despite my inner conflict, I arranged for Owen's interview. However, when I saw his handsome face, I was shocked for 3 seconds. Soon after, I began to delve into Owen's soul with a series of questions. Through our conversation, I learned that Owen was a recent graduate with excellent academic performance. However, his family circumstances were not favorable. His father had passed away, and he and his sister relied on their mother's odd jobs to barely afford education. As Owen approached graduation, his mentor advised, "Learn to be a person in a big company, learn to do things in a small company." Owen, driven by a desire to make money, chose our company. Impressed by Owen's determination and ideas, I decided to hire him. After Owen joined the company, he was always the first to arrive and the last to leave. In just 2 months, Owen streamlined the company's operations and provided me with many valuable suggestions. I liked Owen's work ethic so much that I promoted him from sales to be my assistant. Since Owen became my assistant, I felt that all the work was done with half the effort, and our understanding of each other grew stronger with prolonged exposure. 2 years ago, Owen and I went on a business trip. After successfully concluding the business, we found ourselves trapped in the hotel due to a typhoon. I, accustomed to being as busy as a spinning top, suddenly stopped and felt a bit uneasy. I ended up lying on the hotel's large bed, staring at the ceiling in a daze. Then, a knock on the door interrupted my thoughts. I struggled to get up and opened the door. Owen stood there with crayfish and beer, entering my room enthusiastically, saying, "Grace, you're always so busy. Today, I'll accompany you to relax." I helplessly shook my head and said, "Looks like I've been too good to you." After Owen arranged the crayfish and beer, I sat down as well. Eating the delicious and spicy crayfish, sipping beer, and watching the pouring rain outside, I couldn't help but sigh. Life, with the baptism of rain, becomes even more beautiful. Owen stared at me for 2 minutes and suddenly asked, "Grace, have you ever been in love?" I chuckled and said, "That should be a thing from a past life." Then, I stared at the heavy rain outside. To this day, I still vividly remember the eve of graduation when I happily ran to my ex-boyfriend Jack's dorm with a pregnancy test stick, only to see Jack embracing the daughter of the dean. My heart felt like it was stabbed with a rusty knife as I watched Jack, without a hint of guilt, saying to me, "Grace, you've seen it. Let's break up." Being with her, her father can help me stay in school. What help can your family provide for me? Yes, being with me offered Jack no advantages because my parents were working-class people in a small town, and they had their own new families. If it weren't for my grandmother taking pity on me and raising me when I was only 8 years old, I might have starved to death when my parents divorced. I slapped Jack in the face and ran away crying. I secretly contacted the clinic and terminated the pregnancy. When I stumbled out of the clinic, it was raining just as heavily. At that moment, I swore to become a wealthy person. So, I worked hard, drank recklessly during business negotiations, and gave my all to change my life. Thinking about this, I looked at Owen beside me and smiled. "What about you, kiddo? Any romantic experiences?" Owen smiled and told me, "During college, I had a girlfriend named Ellie. I loved her deeply. Just before graduation, she broke up with me for a wealthy guy. I tried to reconcile, but she refused to see me. When I found out that Ellie had gone abroad with the wealthy guy, I went to a bar for the first time and got completely drunk." I chuckled. "Not only did you get drunk, but you also clung to a beautiful girl's arm. The girl, helplessly, booked a room for you in the budget hotel next to the bar." Owen's eyes sparkled, and he asked, "Grace, how did you know?" I continued to smile and said, because that beautiful girl was me. Owen happily almost jumped up, grabbing my arm and saying, Grace, when I was down, you were my savior, and after I started working, you became my mentor. Actually, I've liked you for a long time. You are the guiding light in my life. If you hadn't accepted me back then, I would have gone home to prepare for farming. As Owen spoke, he moved his lips closer to mine. When his soft lips touched mine, my brain froze for a few seconds. Then, I embraced him. The next day, after waking up in each other's arms, I hurried into the bathroom. After freshening up, I turned to Owen, who was 9 years younger than me, and said, I'm much older than you. Yesterday was probably the alcohol talking. We're both adults, let's forget about this memory. However, Owen held me and said, Grace, my feelings for you are genuine. I want to build a home with you and have a child together. Age doesn't matter. His words deeply touched my heart. I was almost 40, no longer young, and I also wanted to have a child. So, Owen and I established our relationship. Owen twirled me around in his arms and even announced our relationship on his social media. Young people probably like posting on social media, and Owen shared every detail of our relationship, from small things like me buying him a shirt to major events like the completion of the decoration of our new house. Owen even prepared a grand wedding for us. Shortly after marriage, I became pregnant. However, being an older expectant mother, I experienced severe pregnancy symptoms. As a result, I mostly worked from home. Owen, using the reason of wanting his mother-in-law to take care of me, brought his mother and his sister Alice to live with us. My younger sister-in-law seemed to have a grudge against me from the moment she met me. Owen explained to me, Ellie was spoiled by me. After I married you, she became jealous of how well I treat you. Kids are like that, a bit one-track minded and can't understand. With my easygoing personality and my focus on both pregnancy and the company, I saw no need to compete with a 288-month-old child. After 10 months of pregnancy, I gave birth to a daughter. My mother-in-law, who favored boys over girls, stood by my bedside with a gloomy face when I had just moved from the delivery room to the hospital room, saying, as soon as you finish your postpartum recovery, start preparing for the next pregnancy. Our family cannot be without a male heir. I rolled my eyes at my mother-in-law and pretended to be asleep. In my mind, I thought, your family doesn't have a throne, does it? Owen, holding our daughter beside me, saw me closing my eyes and, in a displeased tone, said to my mother-in-law, Mom, it's the modern era. Who cares about having a male heir? I only love Grace and the daughter she gave birth to. I was very satisfied with Owen's attitude. During my postpartum recovery, Owen proved to be an excellent husband, attentive and caring. If it weren't for me urging him, saying, the company is mine and our child's livelihood, you need to go back and take care of it, he probably would have stayed with me every step of the way in the postpartum center. In the blink of an eye, our child turned 1 month old, and I returned to work. My mother-in-law and sister-in-law were very displeased with this. My mother-in-law, sticking to traditional beliefs, said, what kind of heartless woman are you? The child has just turned 1 month old, and you're already rushing back to work. Every time, Owen would shield me and say to my mother-in-law, Mom, Grace is first an individual, then a mother. We have a nanny taking care of the child. It's fine. If you're not happy, you can go back to your hometown. With Owen's support and our adorable daughter, I felt that this journey on Earth was truly worthwhile. A month ago, I detected a scent of cheap perfume on Owen. Moreover, he started coming home later. After we got married, I transferred some important clients to him, making his workload busier. However, he always managed it well. So, despite my suspicions, I was willing to trust Owen. Yesterday, just as I parked the car in the community parking lot, my younger sister-in-law angrily found me and accused me, it's all your fault. Ellie has returned, and why haven't you left my brother? Do you know that because of you, Ellie got depression? I listened, confused. But my sister-in-law grabbed my arm and angrily said, you're so much older than my brother. If it weren't for you, this old woman, and the brat you gave birth to, my brother would have divorced you long ago. Looking at my furious sister-in-law, I coldly smirked. She ate and used what was mine, yet dared to insult me and my daughter. Truly audacious. So, I prepared to raise my hand and slap her. Before my hand could reach her, I heard a crisp sound, and as I saw the situation clearly, I heard Owen say to my sister-in-law, go home and stop embarrassing me outside. Also, if I hear you insulting my wife and daughter again, I'll break your legs. My sister-in-law covered her face, crying, and ran away. Owen pulled me into the car and drove to a private restaurant near our home that I loved. After ordering my favorite dishes, he whispered to me, "Wife, I'm sorry for making you suffer." It turns out that a month ago, Ellie returned. She found Owen and begged for reconciliation. Owen rejected Ellie, but she insisted, saying, "When we were together, I had 3 abortions for you. Due to a uterine injury, I cannot conceive anymore. You have to take responsibility for me." Ellie emphasized, "If you don't take responsibility, I will go find your wife." Not wanting Ellie to disturb our lives, Owen dealt with Ellie while hiring a private investigator to look into her situation. It was true that Ellie had 3 abortions, which led to infertility. However, during her relationship with Owen, she also had other boyfriends. So, Owen was unaware of Ellie's decision to terminate their pregnancies. Later, after Ellie and her wealthy husband went abroad, he kept pursuing different women, and she, in retaliation, had an extramarital affair, leading to her divorce. After losing her title as the wife of a wealthy man, Ellie's bank cards were frozen, and being at fault in the divorce, she didn't receive much money. Seeing Owen's successful company and luxury cars on social media, she returned to find Owen. Knowing the truth, Owen confessed everything to Ellie and, considering the possibility that she might have terminated their child during their relationship, compensated her with $200,000. Ellie, thinking that Owen still had feelings for her, pretended to attempt suicide. She successfully manipulated my younger sister-in-law, claiming that her separation from Owen was because of me. After explaining the whole situation, Owen embraced me and said, "Wife, I didn't expect that sharing our happiness on social media could lead to such trouble. But I've handled it all. You are a beacon of light in my life, illuminating my journey. Rest assured, I will never let you down in this lifetime." In reality, I had arranged for an investigation when I first detected the scent of perfume on Owen. The results matched what he told me. I responded to Owen with a hug. From now on, I will cherish the person in front of me even more.